So, I want to talk about something today that I've been thinking about a lot. I've been thinking about this version of you. You know exactly what I'm talking about. She's the woman that you see in your head when you imagine your life working exactly the way that you want it to work. She's not perfect. She is not some fantasy version of yourself either. That version of you, she's more free. She's more herself. She's also more at peace with what she is building and how she's building it. And you know that you've been postponing that person and you've been doing that for a while now. So today, let's talk about why you've been postponing that version of yourself. And before we go into the why, let's talk about what postponing her looks like. It looks like saying, I will start doing this when I lose the weight. It looks like you will show up when you feel more confident. It looks like you will launch that thing when you have more money. It looks like I will put myself out there when I feel that the timing feels just perfect, when I don't have so much going on in my life. And, you say, I will be her when everything around me looks more like I've imagined it. And here's the thing about that kind of thinking: the conditions, they never get perfect enough. There is always one more thing that needs to fall into place before you feel ready to show up. So we keep pushing everything back. We say, we'll do it next month. We'll do it next year. We'll do it Monday. We'll do it when things settle down a little in our lives, when life actually gets easier. Meanwhile, that version of you is just sitting there. She's waiting on you. And I also want to get into the real reason that we keep postponing her. At least I know that's the reason I kept postponing her. It's because I don't think it has anything to do with laziness. And I do not think it's a lack of motivation. I think it is something a lot more honest than that. And the first reason is really the fear of being seen, of being criticized. And because you're not just seen as in people watching you, you're seen as in people seeing you try and maybe seeing you fall short, seeing you fail, seeing you make mistakes. And there is something really vulnerable about going after the version of yourself that you actually want to be. Because if you never really go for it, you never really fail at it. And staying where you are feels safer than risking the version of yourself that you actually care about. The second reason is that you are not sure that she is allowed. And I know that sounds strange, but stay with me for a second. A lot of women, especially immigrant women, especially Black women, especially women who grew up being told to be grateful for what they have, we carry this quiet belief that wanting more is something wrong, that the version of yourself who is more confident, more visible, more successful is getting a little too big. So we water it down before we even get started, before we even bring her out. The third reason is that she requires something from you that you are not sure you're ready to give. She requires you to stop waiting for the conditions to be perfect. She requires you to show up before you feel ready. She requires you to be vulnerable. She requires you to bet on yourself before anyone else does. And that is genuinely hard to do. I know. And it is not hard because you are weak. It is hard because it asks you to trust yourself more than you trust the circumstances around you. And most of us were never really taught to do that. Now I want to talk about what it actually costs you to keep postponing that version of yourself, because I think that we underestimate this a lot. And the obvious cost of postponing that version of yourself is time. Every year that you wait is a year that she does not exist yet. And time, real talk, it is the one thing that you could not get back. You cannot produce more time. But the cost that is harder to see is what it does to how you feel about yourself. Because every time you postpone her, every time you say not yet, every time you push her back for one more reason, you are sending yourself a message that she's not worth fighting for right now. That the version of you who is more free, who is more herself, who is more at peace, who is more confident, she can wait. And after a while, that message, it starts to feel like the truth to you. Because you tell a lie to yourself long enough, it starts sounding like the truth. I hid for almost a year because I was not happy with the person that I saw in the mirror. I said that she needed to lose weight first. I did not want to show up on camera. I did not even want to be seen. I did not want to put myself out there until I looked like the version of myself that I thought I was supposed to look like. And what I lost in that year, it was not just content. It was momentum. It was confidence. It was practice. It was building the muscle. It was the relationships that I could have been building, the audience that I could have been growing, the woman I could have been becoming while I was waiting to become her. And at the end of that year, I was still not at my goal weight. So I just finally decided that my purpose, it was bigger than that insecurity. So here's what I want to say to you. That version of you, she does not need the weight to be gone. She does not need the business to be perfect. She does not need the timing also to be right. She does not need everyone around her to understand what she's doing before she starts doing it. She just needs you to decide that you're not going to hide anymore, that this is as ready as you're going to be now, that she is worth showing up for right now, exactly as things are. And here's what I know about the woman who actually become her. They do not become her and then start showing up. They start showing up, and that is how they become that version of her. The showing up is the becoming. You do not get to her first and then do the work. You start doing the work now, and then she shows up in the process of you doing the work. So 3 things that help me stop postponing that version of myself. First, I just stopped waiting to feel ready. Ready is not a feeling. Ready is a decision. And once I understood that, I stopped waiting for the feeling and I started making the decision. Second, I got very specific about what exactly I was postponing. What I was postponing was not a vague idea of a better life. It was the specific woman. What does she do in the morning? How does she talk about her work? How does she talk about herself to herself? How does she carry herself in a room where she is not sure that she belongs? Getting specific, it made that version of myself real for me. And making her real made it harder to keep pushing her back, to keep postponing her. The third thing, I started showing up as her before I felt like her. And, at first it was a little bit of performing, but it got away once I got comfortable, because just choosing her behaviors before I had her confidence, charging what she would charge, you know, showing up the way that version of myself would show up, saying the things that she would say. And slowly, she stopped being a future version of me. She became the current one. I am now 51 years old. And I can tell you honestly that the years I spent postponing her, they were the most expensive years of my life. And we're not talking expensive in money, expensive in the life that I was not living while I was waiting to feel ready to live it. That version of me was always available to me. I was just not ready to stop making excuses and start showing up as her. So the day I decided to stop waiting was the day that she started showing up. And it's not because everything got easier, she started showing up. It was because I stopped requiring it to before I gave myself permission to begin. Stop postponing her. She is not waiting for the conditions to be perfect. You are. She is waiting for you to decide that you are worth showing up for right now, exactly as you are, with what you have, where you are. All right? So for those of you who don't know me, I'm Webley, and I want you to drop a comment below and tell me, what have you been postponing that version of yourself for? What is the one thing that you keep saying it needs to happen first before you show up as that version of yourself? I want to read every single one of your answers, and remember to hit subscribe. And with that, I will see you in the next video.